thou shalt not watch any superhero movies after watching Civil War. Let's just go ahead and put that in the comic book Bible, why don't we? And that goes for Marvel, DC, Image, if they're still around, or any other graphic novel company that I don't know about or you don't know about. Anyway, what's going on? It's Abwon. This is Before You Watch. I'm here a week early with the review for XMen Apocalypse. Don't ask me how I watched it. Don't ask me where I watched it, because I'm not going to tell you. That's not the point. The review is the point. And thank you all for watching the Civil War review. It hit 13,000 views in about 6 or 7 days. I knew I was going to hit the goal. It had a lot of hype. This movie also has a lot of hype. Not quite as much as Civil War, but it had a good amount. So anyway, I'm excited. I got a lot to talk about. So yeah, let's get right into it. You know, if there's something that I've always liked about X-Men more than Teen Titans, Justice League, Youngbloods, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, all of these superhero squads out there, and I don't mean in these movies, I'm talking about in the comic book universe in general, is that the X-Men storyline is pretty much a reflection of our own society. Mutants are the minorities, and they deal with the same issues that we deal with today. Ignorance, bigotry, prejudice, discrimination, so on and so forth. So it's almost relatable to a degree. I mean, I'm not shooting things out of my hand and transforming into like this hulking being. Wait, the Hulk's not a mutant though. Anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So anyway, whenever there's a new X-Men movie, a cartoon, a show, I'm always, one, overly critical of it, and two, extremely excited to watch it. So when I saw the Apocalypse Easter egg at the end of Days of Future Past, I said, okay, we're finally going to get a live action version of him. Let's see how they do it on the silver screen. Let's see how it translates to the theater. And hopefully it does not turn out like The Last Stand, because I hated that movie. So I was hoping that they learned from their mistakes. But they didn't. They really didn't, because this movie disappointed the hell out of me. Now, this movie is called X-Men Apocalypse, right? But I really felt like it should have been called X-Men The Rise of Magneto, because if you watch everything from First Class to this movie, whenever you do watch it, you're going to realize that there's one constant theme in all of them, and that's the evolution of Magneto. You're going to see him go from this boy flipping a coin in First Class to who he is in this movie as a mutant, as a man. And I'm not complaining, because Magneto is one of my favorite characters. However, I was more interested in seeing how they portrayed Apocalypse, because after all, he is the villain in this movie. Now, I remember when the first photo stills of Apocalypse leaked, everybody had something to say. Everybody was a graphic designer at that point. Yo, he looks like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers. How they do him like this? I'm boycotting Marvel from now on. Did y'all really think this was what the finished product was going to look like? Come on, now they call it a leak for a reason. I knew that's not how he was going to look when I watched the movie, and I can honestly say that he does look good in this movie. All of the mutants in this movie look good. All the visual effects, when they use their abilities or special abilities, they all look good. But my issue with this movie is not the aesthetics, it's not the visuals, it's everything else. Now, Apocalypse as a villain in this movie, he's better than Ultron, but not by much. Because I felt like Ultron was just like a throw-in character. Apocalypse is a little intense here and there, but first off, his dialogue, if you've seen any of the X-Men Apocalypse trailers, you already know the dialogue you're going to hear in this movie. Like, this guy swears he's a biblical figure, like, oh, you guys are worshiping false idols and false gods, my children, Los Niños, my child. Okay, bruh, we get it. You're like the OG of mutant kind, like, we get that. But he doesn't really say much. He doesn't really say anything else. They don't even explain his powers to you, honestly. Now, to me and anybody else who's familiar with him, they already know what he can do. But to the casual viewer, which the majority of people are, they're just going to be sitting there like, what can he do and what can't he do? Okay, we see he's blue and he can control sand, but what else? Like, who is he, the Prince of Persia? You know what I mean? So they don't really explain too much about him. Now, anytime Apocalypse imbued his horsemen with these powers, like they say in the trailers, it was like this sexual climactic event. Like, these mutants had the characters had these looks on their faces like they were going through this supreme orgasm, and I was sitting there like, are we watching Cinemax or no? Like, what's going on? Other than that, I mean, Apocalypse, I guess they did a good job. It could have been worse. It could have been Galactus or Venom in Spider-Man 3. So they did a good job with him. Nightcrawler, who's actually one of my favorite mutants, they did a good job with him. Shout out to whoever decided to give him that Michael Jackson jacket from Beat It. So, yeah, that looked good. Archangel, Psylocke. Psylocke has no accent. Honestly, I felt like Olivia Munn was a bad choice in the first place. But Psylocke has no accent. If she does have an accent, it's probably like an accent from like Idaho or something. Like, I couldn't hear it. Storm. My issue is that they never really properly represent Storm. Like, somebody who can control the weather should be a lot more powerful, because, you know what I mean? It's just like, why am I causing dust storms? You know what I mean? I mean, she's not doing that in this movie, but that's how they utilize her. She controls the weather. Like, bro, we should be having earthquakes and typhoons. Like, what's going on? Her character, okay, she has an accent, but it's a contrived one. Like, it's almost like on the same level as Will Smith in Concussion. Like, we can tell you're struggling here and there. You know what I mean? A lot of these characters in the movie, a lot of the new characters that they introduce, it's just kind of corny. Like, it's really lame how they introduce them. And I feel like they could have just made this movie into 2 parts. But for the sake of it being one movie, they had to really condense it. And it just didn't work. A lot of the dialogue is really whack. It's just really lame. I don't know what direction the writers were trying to go. And I also felt like the ending of this movie was a complete cop-out. After I watched the first trailer, I predicted how they were going to defeat Apocalypse. And I was right on the money, like I usually am. But anyway, I digress. I felt like this movie didn't conclude. I just felt like it ended. Like, oh, okay, roll the credits. That's it, guys. Bye. Speaking of credits, I don't know if there's any Easter eggs at the end. I didn't get a chance to get to that part, so don't hit me up asking me, yo, you never told me that Wolverine and Sabretooth meet up. I don't know. Like, I don't know. That could very well happen, but I gotta watch the credits now. And the final verdict is a 6.5. That's what I give this movie. I tried to give it a 7, but I couldn't do it, man. It's a shame, too, because I really love X-Men. And you know I'm a Marvel advocate, but I couldn't do it, man. Quicksilver's got the best scene in this movie, and unfortunately, there's just not enough scenes in this movie that just is going to have you amazed and sit there like, wow, this is what comic books on the silver screen should really be. None of that, you know what I mean? The pacing is really slow, and there's just way too many inaccuracies with these characters. I mean, fanboys are going to be in there pulling their hair out like, yo, how could you, Bryan Singer? But this movie's better than Fantastic Four and those film atrocities, Ghost Riders. It's better than those, but compared to like Ant-Man, Deadpool, even Batman vs. Superman, this movie just does not stack up. There's a scene in the movie, and I'm not spoiling anything for you. Jean Grey and some other mutants go to watch Return of the Jedi. Remember, this movie, these films take place in the 80s. Anyway, they go to see Return of the Jedi, and they're all having the little argument about, is the sequel better than the original, whatever, the prequel. And Jean Grey says this one line like, I think we can all agree that the third movie of the trilogy are always the worst. And I laughed when I heard that, but then I really thought about it and I said, yo, you're definitely right, because like Last Stand was garbage, Spider-Man 3 was garbage, Iron Man 3 was garbage, and this movie's garbage. So at least you guys are consistent. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, thanks for watching this review. Thanks for listening via podcast if you are. Don't forget to hit me up on YouTube, Abwon over everything. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Hit me up on Twitter at Abwon. I think the next movie I'm going to review is Turtles, I think comes after this. I'm excited too. I like the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, watch that movie. Yeah, the first one was good. And watch the trailer for these following movies, y'all. Birth of a Nation, Doctor Strange, and Don't Breathe. All of those movies look really interesting. I'm going to review all of those. I think 2 of them come out soon. Birth of a Nation, I think, comes out in October. It's Oscar season. So, yeah, other than that, stay tuned, you guys. Thanks for viewing. I'm sorry I couldn't get an afterthought section for you guys where I asked everybody else what they thought about it, but I watched this movie alone. So, but I will have it for other movies. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this movie when you do watch it, because I'm pretty sure people are going to be like, yo, you raw, this movie was great. So let me know what you thought about it, y'all. All right? Peace.